Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up to get into all sorts of controversies, and they do it with a special guest too. So we'll keep you wondering about that. But I hope you'll stay with us through the entire show. Lots of good stuff. Where we want to start though is honoring, celebrating, and talking about Hispanic Awareness Month. And it's a great time to talk about this with two great friends. One who's been on the show many times before, Renee Rohr is Manager of Community Engagement Operations for Triad Federal Credit Union. And Renee brought a special guest with her, Mary Jo Turner, is Executive Director of the Hispanic League. Welcome, ladies. Good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Mary Jo, just hold on in abeyance for a minute, and we'll start with Renee on a couple of things. First of all, I understand that Truliant is engaged in supporting a number of events to celebrate this ongoing month that we're in the midst of. Why?
Yeah, that's right. So we are in the middle of Hispanic Heritage Month. It runs September 15th to October 15th. We have a lot of employees who are bilingual and are from different countries.
Right.
And it's a time for us to celebrate our employees and the different cultures that they bring to our workplace, but also to our communities. So we are sponsoring a number of events, including some events with the Hispanic League.
And sponsoring events is one thing, and that's great, but also you're sort of in an ongoing fashion helping to support various programs and initiatives in the community. In what way?
That's correct. So as part of our diversity, equity, and inclusion work that we are doing, we remain engaged with organizations that support the Latinx communities, whether that's Hispanic League. We've got some other organizations in Greensboro and Charlotte, those types of groups. And the work that they do is so important into getting all of us to understand the cultures and the different perspectives that folks from all the different countries, Latin America, Spain, Mexico, can bring to our environment.
Mary Jo, why is this celebrating and being aware of this special month so important?
I think it's a great opportunity for us to celebrate the champions who are Hispanic Americans and to help us realize the way they can influence us and inspire those in their community so they can all feel appreciated.
Renee sort of alluded to this briefly, but how many countries would you say are involved that represent this Hispanic community in the Triad?
The Hispanic Latinx community was really made up of about 22 different countries and territories. So we're very diverse. In fact, if you look at our school system, for example, we have about 30% of the students in Forsyth County schools are Hispanic Latino.
Wow.
And about 19% of our population fall into that category.
We think about countries, and since I mentioned that, we can't fail to mention that Puerto Rico is going through some devastating weather. Are there ways that folks in the Triad can help with that?
Absolutely. I've reached out to John Hughes with the Red Cross, and they do have special individuals that are there helping in the communities of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, because they were also affected. They have not received any outreach or requests from like the Dominican Republic, which was also affected by that. But I do know that like Samaritan Purse, which is here locally, also is helping to reach out to those families.
Mary Jo, what are some ways that we can, throughout the year, not just when there's a special month, throughout the year, that we can learn about Hispanic culture, heritage, and tradition? What are some ways we can do that? Hispanic
League has fantastic programming. We have scholarships that we give to Hispanic Latino students to go to college. In fact, that starts October 1st. This year we were able to give 46 scholarships.
Wow.
So we put a lot of emphasis on education.
And you're giving those out on October 1st?
That's when the application opens. We provide those and support those and actually award them at our Spanish Night Gala, which will be on April 15th next year.
How about that? So the application process starts October 1st, and is anybody eligible to do that?
Of course, I have to be Hispanic Latino. There are some requirements. I have to have been a limited English proficient student in our school system, GPA of 2.7 or greater, and of course, I need to give volunteer work and give back to our community. What
a great thing. All right, up on screen, HispanicLeague.org is a website where you can find out more information. Also, you can visit truliant.org/foundation and the general website, truliantfcu.org. Renee, thanks so much for doing all that you guys do at Truliant for the entire community and for bringing Mary Jo as a special guest. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. is talking about the very serious subject of breast cancer and the importance of mammograms. And we have an expert in this field who's going to help us through this over the next few minutes. We are with Dr. Catherine Ansley. She's with Medical Oncology and Hematology at Atrium Health, Wake Forest Baptist. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
By way of Texas and Davidson, and you've been all over the place, but we're so glad you're at this place.
Thank you. Yes, I've been at Atrium Health now for 7 years, so
That's great. On a serious note, October, as Justin Gomez was reminding me the other day, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that's great. And because healthcare providers and everybody, use that as a time to really hone in and say, hey, it's important, let's be educated, let's get the mammogram. But why is a mammogram so important?
Well, first and foremost, we know that when breast cancer is detected early, it's much more curable. So 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer, and we all know 8 women around us. So if we can catch those at a much smaller size until they're bigger when you can feel them, we're much more likely to cure them, up to 99% curable in that.
And I've heard women say, well, look, I don't want to do that. And, I'm only 40, I'm only 42, I'm only 39, whatever. Is there a specific age that folks should start getting a mammogram?
Yeah, I think it's confusing because in the past, we said 50, but those guidelines have changed now. And we do recommend at age 40 that you start getting those mammograms. But also, if you have a family history, it might be sooner. So we recommend you talk to your doctor about that and kind of decide based on your personal risk factors, but definitely by age 40.
Now, if someone is diagnosed with breast cancer, what should they know and keep in mind in terms of choosing a treatment center or a treatment facility?
Well, I think it's really important to go to a place where you have providers or doctors like myself who specialize in breast cancer. There's a lot of places where you see an oncologist who does everything, but at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist, we have a team of doctors who only do breast cancer. And we focus on that and have specialty training in that area. And we just know that a place like Atrium Health has better outcomes because of that specialty training and just breast cancer, and makes the process a little smoother.
Yeah, I read something that you sent me in an email about a nurse navigator, and maybe you can wrap that into, explain who that is, and wrap it into this as a question, which is, let's say somebody makes a phone call to your place, and what's the first thing that happens when she makes that call?
So now it's so easy to schedule a mammogram because you can make a phone call or you can make it online, get the mammogram. And unfortunately, if you do see something and there's a mass, they'll do a biopsy and they'll connect you right away with our nurse navigators now. So if you get that diagnosis of breast cancer, the nurse navigator will be assigned to you and will call you and kind of help you along that whole process from meeting with the team and getting all the appointments, because we know when you're diagnosed with breast cancer, it could be a scary and frightening time. And just having that nurse navigator who's assigned to you to work through the process and kind of answer any questions, and is only a phone call away, we think makes that process a lot smoother and less scary, hopefully.
The same person, so you'd be dealing with the same person all along during
That's right.
treatment.
Yeah, all the way through. They're there to follow you from your diagnosis through your surgery and treatments, and even at the end, they can help. They'll always be there for you to kind of help guide you.
Well, guide me on this. I read somewhere something, I may get the initials wrong on this, that the cancer center that you work with at Atrium is NCI designated. Did I get that right?
You did, that's right.
What does that mean and why is that important?
So that's a National Cancer Institute, and there are only 51 in the country of those that are certified with that. So we're a comprehensive cancer center. And that's important because, we've been that since 1993 and been able to maintain that level, but mostly because we offer clinical trials and access to research that you might not get at other, community hospitals. So we know that patients who enroll on clinical trials tend to do better because they're getting that new, exciting treatment.
Right.
And we want to be able to offer that to our patients.
I think that's great. The websites we want to put up to schedule a mammogram, wakehealth.edu/mammogram appointment you can go to. Now, for more information, you can go to the general website, wakehealth.edu/breast cancer care, or call 833-773-3111. And Doc, I really appreciate what you do. We're so fortunate to have you up here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us today.
Will you come back sometime?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back. Back now on Triad Today, and we have a special guest who's actually been on the program years ago in a different capacity, and we welcome her back. Claire Ritchie is now Dean of Adult Education for for GTCC. Good to see you again, my friend.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Tell me about some of GTCC's adult education offerings. We talk sometimes about continuing education. We talk about things for new industry and whatever, but let's focus on this.
Okay. The great thing about adult education is all of our classes are free. So there's no tuition, registration fee involved. And we serve a very diverse group of students. Largest part of our population is English for speakers of other languages. So we have refugees and immigrants from all over the world learning English from beginning to advanced. And then we serve a lot of native speakers who need their high school equivalency or adult high school diploma. And again, we have classes from beginning, reading and math, and computer skills up to advanced at the GED level, or even beyond the GED, getting ready to go to college classes.
Wow, just covering the whole spectrum. All right, now I want to double back to something you mentioned. You talked about high school equivalency, and you talked about adult high school. Remind everybody what those two things are and how they're different.
Sure. So high school equivalency is a series of tests that you take, and it could be the GED, or there's some new options. One of them is called the HiSET. And so you take tests in different subjects to show that you have the equivalent knowledge, and you earn a diploma. Whereas adult high school is an agreement between the community college and the local school system for students to finish the high school credits that they didn't complete. And so they earn a diploma jointly with the college and the local school system.
Now, are both of these, I want to circle back to something you said earlier about things being free. Would that still apply to adult high school equivalency, and the test? I mean, are there fees charged for those? Or?
So the test vendors, GED and HiSET, do charge fees.
Right.
And so that can be around $80 for the full test battery. So we're very fortunate at the college to have grants from United Way of Greater Greensboro and the Bank of America. So for any student who is qualified, enrolled in our program, and demonstrating to us they're ready to pass, we can give them a voucher so they don't have to pay the test fees.
That's great. Are there scholarships available for these things, Claire?
So, the scholarships are the test vouchers that we give.
Right.
And then we do have scholarships for our students who want to go on to further education at the college, like take some of the continuing education classes.
All right. Now, you emailed me one day and said something, and it might have been an email from you or from Aaron, and said something about a program that you're doing with the Guilford County Sheriff's Department for High Point Detention Center. And I wanted to ask you about that. What's that all about?
Sure. So right before the pandemic, the High Point Detention Center opened their doors to allow us to offer high school equivalency classes to their inmates. And so we're offering our free classes. We have vouchers, again, paid by Bank of America so that students can study for and actually take the test in the detention center. So far, we've had 7 graduates. We had a lot of stops and starts due to the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
But we've had 2 graduation ceremonies, and we're really excited and hoping for more.
And how is the career pathways thing going?
Good. So we actually offer, in addition to the GED or the HiSET in the detention center, we're offering some CDL prep, so students could take truck driver training after they exit. And then we have some new career pathways we're offering for our ESOL students, where we provide a scholarship, for example, for furniture, sewing, or upholstery classes. They take that career training class and an ESOL class that is specialized to furniture, sewing, or upholstery. So they're learning the vocabulary of that industry while they're taking the career training class, so that they can come out with a certificate that allows them to go to work.
And I believe you told me once that there's a new class starting on October 18th. Did I get that right?
That's right. So our apartment maintenance technician class, this is a really cool class where students get to learn some basic repair of appliances, how to repair and maintain HVAC, electrical systems, basic repair and maintenance work. And so that class starts October 18th, and it will be paired with a special ESL class for students to learn that vocabulary to be able to be more successful in the class.
That's just great. And up on screen, www.gtcc.edu. That's the general website where you can learn about all the great offerings, gtcc.edu. Claire, thanks for all you're doing to help folks get ready to make a change and go in a different direction and improve their lives.
Thank you.
Will you come back sometime?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and always glad when we can spend a few minutes with the good folks at Triad Goodwill. We're going to talk about special programs and all sorts of neat things with two first-time visitors to the show. Shawnee Gaylord is Director of Special Programs for Triad Goodwill, and her partner in crime here is Lindsay Buckner, Intake Specialist. We welcome both of you. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lindsay's the Yankee here. She already told me before we started taping that she was in New Jersey. We don't hold that against you, though.
Thank you very much.
Shawnee, very quickly, I'm going to ask you something. I read something in an email you sent about career navigation services. What does that mean?
Yes, we have an awesome career navigation team in our Career Center. We provide personal, one-on-one approaches to help people develop career plans and help you with your personal and professional goals. Whatever your goal is, we help you reach that through giving resources and helping you just have skills so you can just go confidently in the direction of your dreams, both personally and
I
professionally.
think that's great. Now, Lindsay, how do people access those kind of services?
So what a person would do, they would give us either a call or they would come into our location. They would take some computer assessments so that we can see where they're at. And then we would schedule them an appointment with the career navigator or with the job development manager.
And I picked up on something that you said in that sentence about, when you come in, well, actually coming out of the pandemic when everything was remote and online or whatever, can people still do this and learn about navigation services online, or do they have to come in the Career Center, or how's that work?
Oh, absolutely. They can come in or they can do it online if they're comfortable. We try to help people feel as comfortable as possible when they're in their journey of job search. So yes, if they wanted to go ahead and just do things remote, we do have that option as well.
Yeah, and Shadi, you mentioned a minute ago about all the great things, navigation services, and I sense that what you're talking about is this is good for people of all ages, and no matter what they need to learn or where they want to go with their career, or change careers or start a career. Could even be people my age that are almost 70 or whatever, right? I mean, you're helping everybody, right?
100%. And the cool thing is if you're a Goodwill employee, you can access our services. Anybody in our community can access our services. So it's really beautiful to develop a plan. And like we said, both professionally and personally, because everything in your life, your housing, your car, having a license, all that ties into careers. So we're so grateful to offer these services.
And I know we're sort of repeating ourselves a little bit, but Lindsay, just remind us, what do you think, how do you think folks benefit from taking advantage of these navigation services? What's your feeling?
Well, I think that because they're free is the greatest benefit. They don't have to figure out funds or money to pay someone to help them with updating their resume or, giving it some type of
Yeah, because a lot of people have been out of the market, don't know how to do a resume right, or don't know computer skills, and you guys are there to help them. Before time runs out, Shawnee, the other thing is there's a sort of a circular direct connection between what you guys are doing to help people and the Goodwill stores, right?
Yes, we appreciate everybody who shops and donates at Goodwill because everything that's donated money actually goes towards funding these services, as she said, so we're so grateful to everyone who participates.
Now, we didn't plan this or anything, and anybody can answer, but are either of you, do you ever get feedback from people that received help through these navigation services, any kind of feedback or what?
Yes, actually on our website, we have tons of real success stories. Actually, a new one was posted last week. So it's so cool to see people in our retail services and our career development team have actually gone and used our services and are now a success story. So it's absolutely wonderful. And thank you to everybody who donates.
Yeah, and you're shaking your head, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Because it is important to donate. I mean, you don't think about it, but go in, take those items you don't need, then those items can be put in the retail stores. People come in and buy them, and the proceeds go to make things possible.
That's right.
By navigation services. Up on screen, triadgoodwill.org is the general website, triadgoodwill.org. Please check that out. And Shawnee and Lindsay, thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank
Will you come back sometime?
Absolutely.
For
Y'all
sure.
make a good team, even though she came from, up north. I'm just teasing you. All right, we'll be right back after this. Today, just about time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at Senior Botanical Garden. Hope you'll check out the website, check out the garden. You can see things here. You can rent the facility. It's great. It's also great to have these three guys with me. On the right, but always a political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist. Our special guest on the roundtable is former Congressman Mark Walker, now host of Swing State on Fox 8. What is it, 11 o'clock every Sunday night?
That's correct.
All
Yes,
right.
thank you.
And Keith Granberry, who's right here. He's not on Sunday night. He's on right now. Founder of Helping Hands Consultants. All right, guys. Former State Supreme Court Chief Justice Sherry Beasley and Republican Congressman Ted Butter locked in a neck-and-neck race to replace Richard Burr in the Senate. If the election were held today, who would win and why, Ogie?
Well, I just looked. 538 has Bud up by 2 now. But I think, Beasley's going to step up her campaign and get a little bit more aggressive. I think it's going to be down to the wire. I mean,
Down to the
that
wire.
close.
Mark?
Yeah, I think traditionally you have to go back to 1998, the last time a Democrat Senate candidate won in a non-presidential year. I think it's an uphill battle for the Democrat. It is a close race, but right now I still give the edge to Ted Budd.
All right, Keith.
Well, I think it's going to be an upset because of this abortion issue that's on the table. And I think a lot of people are going to see women voting in a different manner. So I think Beasley is going to eke it out.
All right. Meanwhile, State Treasurer Dale Folwell says he might run for governor in 2024. If so, he would face Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson in the Republican primary and maybe some other folks, maybe even, if I can get him to run, Mark Walker. I think he'd be a great governor. But anyway, the question is about Dale Folwell. Can a moderate Republican or anybody else that runs in that primary, can a moderate beat a far right winger like Robinson in a Republican primary for governor? What do you think, Ogie?
Right, I hope so. I mean, all Republicans aren't Looney Tunes. There's reasonable, sane, rational, good Republicans. Mark Walker's off the deep end. I'm sorry. Robinson.
Yeah.
He's a nutcase.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So, Mark, I know I'm embarrassing you, putting you on the spot about running for governor, but take yourself out of the equation for a second. Can a moderate Republican beat a right-wing, far right-wing person for governor?
I think both parties are having, my friend Heath Schuler, who represented the western part of the state as a Democrat, says I can never run statewide because I'm not progressive enough. I think both parties have a tendency to elect or to go after somebody that's spewing more of the red meat. It'll be interesting because that's where our politics have devolved to.
What do you think, Keith?
It's going to be hard, because politics are so polarized now, and with the Republicans taking out many of the people who voted against the impeachment of Trump, voted for the impeachment of Trump, most of them have been taken out. So it's very difficult for a moderate Republican to win in today's
But things could change in a year and a half,
Absolutely.
2 years. All right. Last week, it was discovered that a Republican candidate for Congress in Ohio has been lying about his military service, claiming he was in combat. He wasn't. He was unloading planes at an air base. He keeps lying about it. Should it be a federal crime to deliberately misrepresent your military service while you're running for federal office, Ogie?
That's just sad, isn't it? I don't know how you can criminalize that, though, really. If there were a way to do it, I'd say yeah, but I don't see it.
Mark, what do you think?
You can't criminalize it, but you should be shamed. I applaud Kevin McCarthy for removing all funding for J.R. McCuskey, I believe his name was. One of the worst things that you could do, in my opinion, is to lie about serving your country in that capacity.
Keith?
Well, we've got not Republicans, but we got politicians who've been lying about a lot of things, about January 6th. A lot of things have been lied about in terms of politics, and lying has been part of politics. So it's very difficult to just target one person because lying is universal in today's politics.
Moving on from politics, last week the family of a hazing victim at Virginia Commonwealth University will receive $1 million from VCU because their 19-year-old son died after being told he had to binge drink in order to get into a fraternity. Guys, should a university be liable for the death of an adult student who willingly chose to binge drink? Ogie?
Well, I don't think so. I commend the college for stepping up and awarding the family $1 million. That's great. But frats and universities, I know they're sanctioned by the university, but still, there's a boundary there. You can maybe sanction the frat, but I don't see it.
What do you think, Mark?
I think only if you can prove that the college was negligent. Look, 19 and 20-year-olds are going to do some stupid stuff. And I think unless you can say the college was warned ahead of time and ignored it, that's a problem. But otherwise, I don't think you can.
Keith, what do you think?
You cannot. College students, they go to school, they're adults, and they know drinking and all of those things, but they've got to be aware.
It's their choice.
It's their choice.
All right. Now, this is going to sound like a funny question. It's not. A Connecticut police officer was placed on administrative leave because he once appeared in a porno film to earn extra cash. Guys, should a cop who's already underpaid be suspended or fired for appearing in a porno video on his own time. Ogie.
No, why would he? I mean, really, why would you? No, it's a movie, you know.
All right, Mark.
If Ogie's got any contacts there.
Ogie has that film at home. What do you think?
No, look, I'm a guy that believes in individual liberty. Unless it's harming somebody else, you
All
should
right,
do what
Keith?
you want.
I'm gonna have to cop out on this one.
Come on, kid.
All right, guys. Finally, scientists now say that humans have the genetic capacity to produce venom just like snakes do. Guys, have you ever met anyone who spews venom? Ogie.
I've never met him, and I hope I don't ever.
Mark, you ever met anybody that
Yeah.
spews venom?
I spent 6 years in Washington, D.C. Yes, I have. Yeah.
Keith, what do you think?
Well, I'm looking at him right now.
Hey. All right. Well, we want to thank Mark Walker for sitting in today. Be sure to watch his show on Fox 8 Swing State as well. Oh, that's all the time we have, except for this. Last week, this CEO of a company called Beyond Meat, it's a vegan food company, he got mad in a parking garage because this guy cut him off. So the CEO of the vegan company went and bit into the meaty part of a guy's nose just for cutting him off in the garage. People asked him later, police said, why did you do something like that? He said, well, it wasn't planned, it just happened organically.
Sorry.
Because it happens, it's a vegan thing. All right, for all of us, we're going out for vegan after this. I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.